welcome back for another video. My name is Josh Kasich, and today is my Pokemon Series 1 through 7 and Movies Review Part 3. Although technically this is just the movies, because I already technically finished reviewing this TV series in the last part, but I totally forgot about the movies, so I'm going to explain the movies here and review them. But before I get to that, I wanted to get into some details I missed talking about this series. I think one interesting thing I missed out on are character-wise. Let's see what we got. Well, first we got Ash's mother, Delia Ketchum. She plays she's not necessarily in every episode. She's not like a big main character or anything like that, but I think she plays an important part, and because she's the mother, and she's pretty much in every series, mostly in the beginning and sometimes at the end of the series, depending on depending on the series. Like I think Lola didn't show her at the end, but she actually did appear several episodes in the middle, which I think are things that you should talk about. But yeah, I think she definitely, I should have talked about her and I didn't. But yeah, we don't know who Ash's father though is. There's many theories, like his father could be Giovanni, who's the leader of Team Rocket, but we don't know exactly who he is. We just know that he was a trainer that left on a journey and never came back. That's pretty much all we know. So there's that. Then I might have forgot to mention this character. I don't know. I might have, or whatever. I might have actually talked about it, but there's a character named Tracy. If I did talk about him, I might have called him Trey, but his name is Tracy. He was during the Orange Islands, which until Lola was the only kind of league, as you could call it, a league that Ash won. But Tracy was introduced into the series as he was a Poke Sketcher artist, so he actually works for Professor Oak in his research. But the reason why they introduced him is because they wanted to write Brock out of this series, because they thought that people might thought that the character was racist. Not that the character was racist to others, that it was its design was racist, but people were upset that they wrote out Brock, and so they brought Brock back into the series, and so that's kind of where that is at. Then there's a character in Johto that became a rival of Ash and even beat him in the league, named Harrison. I think he was definitely an interesting character that they kind of became friends. I know it's very brief, but I think I really do like that character. I think he is definitely a interesting character. Then in Hoenn, we have two more rivals of Ash that I forgot to mention. I think that are really interesting characters. One named Morrison. He almost was late to the league, and during the league he had to battle Ash, and he was technically losing because he didn't want to fight Ash because it became so good friends, but Ash snapped him out of it. And this way but Ash, I think, still won anyway, if I recall correctly. So, but it was definitely an interesting. And then another character was named Tyson. He's what's interesting about his character. He likes food and restaurants just like May, but his Pokemon is Meowth, and it isn't just any Meowth. It's a Meowth version of Puss in Boots. So it is a very interesting detail that they did. I thought it was kind of funny. Then you have May's rivals, but the only rival I really found interesting for May was Drew. Well, I actually do like Soledad, but she was not she wasn't all that big of a character per se, but I think she was definitely interesting. But I do enjoy Drew as a character because I think Drew will end up with May when they get older. I think it's definitely their love. I definitely think he's May's love interest. I think it would definitely work out they're only 10. I mean, they technically date, but they won't be together until probably older. So it's, but yeah, I definitely think they would end up together. The other rivals I don't really like Harley. He was just, ugh, I do not like that character. But and then we go to Sinnoh. We definitely a lot of characters of rivalry that I forgot to mention that I enjoy. Zoe became friends with the group. She was a rival of Dawn, and even beat Dawn, and became in the Grand Festival, and became what I forgot what they called the head of and I forgot what they called the person who wins the Grand Festival. Yeah, and then another character Kenny, he was a friend of Dawn growing up. Joined contests. He was a rivalry of Dawn, and then kind of the end of the series, Kenny asked her to journey with him because he likes Dawn. I mean, if that's not obvious. And I think they too will end. Dawn and Kenny will end up together once they're like older or whatever. I think that definitely will happen in my opinion. Then Nano is another, or Nando, not Nano, Nando. He's another character that I really enjoyed. He did both Pokemon contests and gyms, which I think was very interesting. So he was a rival of Dawn and Ash, and that's why I really do enjoy his character. He was cool. He played music, and he, like I said, the fact that he did both, I thought was really cool. And then that's pretty much the rivalry of Sinnoh, that characters I enjoy. Characters in Unova I forgot to mention were Virgil. He actually won the league, but he became friends with Ash in the group. His team was full of Eevee and Eevee, or it was an Eevee and Eevee evolutions, which I thought was a pretty interesting aspect to actually win the league with. But I think it was pretty cool. Another friend, I already mentioned Bianca and Stefan. Those are definitely interesting characters. But another character friend / rival was Cameron. Now Cameron was late to everything, and also it almost ruined his ability to be in the league twice, because he thought he only needed seven badges, and then he forgot to sign up for the league itself. He thought he could just show up, and then enter it, but no. And the sign-ups were actually ended, but with Ash and all of them, Ash helped him actually convince Nurse Joy to actually let him in, even though the sign-ups were over. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting character. I definitely thought he was cool and became friends with Ash. Now I should technically, I know I went over the teams for all of them, but Giovanni, Team Rocket. Now the leader of the two teams in Hoenn, you have Archie of Team Aqua and Maxie of Team Magma. I forgot to mention those two leaders in that, and then you have, I already think I mentioned Cyrus, the leader of Team Galactic, and then you have Gexus, the leader of Team Plasma. And during that arc, they also met another kind of friend that was kind of also manipulated by Gexus, but became friends with them. Is N. He's definitely an interesting character. He was more of a villain in the games, I think, if I recall correctly, but he wasn't really a villain in the anime, and he actually became really good friends with the group. And I actually grew to like the character. I think he was definitely an interesting character. Then you got X and Y. I forgot to mention the evil team in that series, Team Flare, led by Lysander. He was definitely, we didn't know, Elaine actually worked for Team Flare and Lysander, but he didn't know that they were villains until the end of the series, and then he, joined Ash to actually defeat them. Now, Alan has a friend named Marin, who has a chest spin. I thought she was an interesting character as well. That, you know, they should, and I, those, like I said, those are interesting. Other friends they met, I think, is Sawyer. I think Sawyer he was with the Septa. He looked up to Ash, then became friends with him, became his rival, and I like I said, he was a interesting character. I did enjoy his friendship. Three other characters, I think I did mention them, but I said I forgot their names. You got Shanna, who was a rivalry of Serena because she was a Pokemon performer. You have Trevor, who is also a rival of Ash, but he entered the Pokemon League, but he was more into researching Pokemon, taking pictures. Discovering every single Pokemon is technically his goal. Now Tierno is the other one. He also was a rival of Ash. He joined the Pokemon League, but his entire thing is dancing. So his battle style is dancing, or his Pokemon's training his Pokemon's battle style to dance. I thought that was a very interesting aspect to the character. Those are just three other characters I really enjoyed from X and Y that I want to mention them. What else is there? Then we got Lola, several characters. I think I've already mentioned them. Kiawe, Sophocles, Lana, Mallow, Lily, Gladion became a friend / rival. He's the brother of Lily. How was introduced from the games. He was definitely became friends with the group and rival of Ash, and he was definitely an interesting character that I like to mention. The road time decks, although can be annoying at times, I think I grew to like the character as well. And let's just talk about all the professors here. Professor Oak is still the best professor, obviously, from Kanto. Professor Birch was an interesting character because he wanted to play with Pokemon and always got into trouble when doing so. Professor Rowan, he was more of a serious than any of the other professors, but I think really enjoyed his character because I feel like he could definitely have been like a great dad. I think that's his technically personality, not like in the sense of like the dad jokes type of thing, but just a caring type father. I think he was definitely good in that aspect. And then Professor Professor come on, why am I blanking on her name? Professor Juniper, there we go. Professor Juniper, the first female professor, and technically the only female professor, pretty much all the games, I think. Galar, I take that back. Galar had, although it wasn't very prompt, it wasn't like, that professor in Galar wasn't actually as big as the other professors, but they did have two. Both, you had like an elderly and then her granddaughter. They were technically both professors, so I guess that technically they're not the so. And then obviously you have Professor Burnett and Alola, but she's not like the same type of professor as in Oak or any of them, because they're not. She's not the professor of the games or anything like that. The main professor, although she was in the Sun and Moon games based off of Lola. But I'm just saying she's not in the same head professors of each game. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Professor Juniper, I think she was definitely an interesting character, and she appeared throughout the series. Oh, and I thought another X and Y character I forgot to mention. What was her name? Viola's sister. Viola was the gym leader. What was the character? I forgot. Yeah, I think she's definitely, I forgot her name, but she was definitely an interesting character. She was a reporter, and she played a big role. I think she not a big role, but she appeared in several episodes. If only I can remember her name. But I forgot to mention her. I think she was an interesting character that I enjoy. Sorry to quickly interrupt myself. The character that I was forgetting his name, Alexa. I think she's actually another one of the, like I said, she's an interesting character. Just wanted to mention that. And then that's pretty much all the characters. I mean, that throughout the series. I mean, not Galar, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. And then you got the movies. There's not really much really break them all down per se. But essentially, there are a total of 22 movies. Although actually take that back, 21 movies because the 22nd movie has not been released yet, even though it's been announced almost several years ago or year ago. But like it was supposed to release last year or something like that. But like COVID and all that kept pushing back, so I don't even know when that's going to be released. But 21 movies where they kind of go with their corresponding series. None of the movies really fit into the timeline of the series except for the Mewtwo Strikes Back, which is the first Pokemon movie, which actually, there's an episode where Mewtwo escapes Team Rocket, which leads into the movie, and so that's kind of where they're at. And then that has a sequel that's not necessarily a movie, but like a TV special called Mewtwo Returns, but yeah, each movie is to technically just promote the Pokemon series and Pokemon in general. I mean, they're basically just cash grabs, but I think they have good, I think, have really interesting stories that I think that are, I would say, even at times better than the actual series. That's why I have to, so, and then their focus is obviously on legendary and mythical Pokemon, Ash meeting these interesting Pokemon as legendaries, and like each movie kind of goes over. So like I said, like the first movie is about Mewtwo, the second movie is the Pokemon 2000, which was about Lugia and the 3 legendary birds, which actually takes place in the Orange Islands. Then you got Pokemon the movie 3, which was about Entei, which takes place in Johto. Then you have the fourth movie, Pokemon Forever, which was about Celebi, and it was actually a time movie where they actually meet the younger version of Samuel Oak, because Celebi took the younger version of Oak to the future where Ash is, so they became friends, which is kind of interesting. And apparently at the end of the movie, Oak realizes that he still knows Ash from all the way back then, for being young because of this time event. So that was kind of an interesting thing. Pokemon Heroes, which takes place in Hoenn, I think. No, because I still have Misty, isn't it? So that's still Johto. That had Latios, and that was about Latios and Latias. And what's interesting is that it was Ash's first kiss. And it was a human. He got kissed by Latias, which is the female of the two characters taking up a human form. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting. They actually showed that, but they can't show Ash and Serena kissing in X and Y. Come on. Whatever. The next movie, the fifth movie. Actually, I don't remember the exact order of the movies after that. So I know the rest kind of are going to Hoenn. You have Pokemon, the Temple of the Sea, which is about Manaphy. You got Pokemon. You got Destiny Deaxys, which is about Deaxys, but Rayquaza also appears in that movie. You have a movie about Jirachi. I think it was Pokemon Wishmaker Jirachi. I think that's what it was called. That was about, like I said, about Jirachi. Although Groudon technically appears in that movie, but it wasn't like a real Groudon. It was like a fake Groudon. And it did stuff that Groudons can't do. So that doesn't really count. Then other movies we got during Sinnoh. You got a Lucario movie. No, I think the Lucario movie is still May, actually. That was still Hoenn, actually. I take that back. That was still Lucario. That was still Hoenn. That was introducing Lucario, which was technically not a legendary Pokemon. Although Mew does appear in that. It was like Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. I think that's what the movie is called. Mew does appear in that as well. And then you got what else was in Sinnoh? You got a Darkrai movie. which Palkia and Dialga do appear in that. You have an Arceus movie. You have a Zoroark movie, although it isn't the legendary Pokemon, but it introduced the first kind of introduction of Unova Pokemon. Though three of the three legendary beasts, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune do appear in the anime, and it's actually their shiny form. So that was definitely aspect that it should talk about. Then let's think the Unova movies. You have a split movie that's like the same movie called Pokemon Black and Victini and Pokemon Y and Victini. They're the same movie, but they switch around certain details, like the legendary Pokemon Zekrom and Reshiram, and other more detailed subplots, but they're basically the same movie, so you get to pick which one you want. Or you can watch both just to see the differences, but they're not really major differences, so they're like practically the same movie. Then you have a movie about Keldeo and the Three Justices, as well as Kiram, all in the same movie. I think it was Kiram and the Legend of the Sacred Sword, I think it was, or something like that. And then you have a movie about what's it called? Genesect, which was the last mythical of Unova, and it was Mewtwo does appear in that movie, but we're not going to talk about that Mewtwo because it's just bad. I'm not going. Well, the reason why it's bad is because they wanted to prove that Mewtwo was not, it was genderless, and so they gave it a female voice actress, which makes no sense considering that he had a male voice actor, like, pretty much in every other time. So first of all, how do you change his voice to be female? I think, and to me, based on how the story was described about this Mewtwo, it seems like this is a totally different Mewtwo than that other Mewtwo. And then in Galar, from my understanding, Mewtwo returns in Galar, and it had that male voice again. So whatever, that's a little weird if you ask me. But that's not the main point. Then after that, you got like 3 movies for X and Y. You got a Diancie and Yveltal movie, where Xerneas does appear in that movie, but isn't technically plays a role in the movie, because they're trying to search for Xerneas, but she doesn't. The character or the legendary Pokemon doesn't actually show up until the end of the series. Or not the series, the end of the movie, my bad. And it wasn't, like I said, not really a big role, but it had a big role because the main plot of the story is trying to find Xerneas, and that's why it played a part. But other than that, there wasn't a big vocal point of that movie. The next movie was about Hoopa, and several legendary Pokemon appear in that movie because Hoopa. Some of them there are from their rings, because his Hoopa's rings are portals. But that was definitely an interesting aspect of and that's a movie. And then the last movie for X and Y was about Volcanion and Magearna. Now Magearna is a human-made mythical Pokemon from Alola. So it's the first kind of introduction to Alola Pokemon, and it's like I said, it's human-made. And then you got Volcanion, which was a water-fire type. So far, the only water-fire type, and is the last mythical of X and Y. And then that's pretty much it with all the movies that are still connected to the show wise. It's not they kind of did a reboot things with the movies. So the first movie after that was Pokemon I Choose You, which was like a retelling of Ash, getting Pikachu, becoming friends with it, and his first journey in Kanto. And then he meets 2 different characters, not Brock or Misty, and they journey to find Ho-Oh, and then the mythical Pokemon Marshadow from Alola appears in the movie, and that was pretty interesting. So, and then the second movie is like, I think, a continuation of that, and it was about Lugia and Zeraora. Now Zeraora being the last mythical of Alola, and they are. And that kind of takes place, a retelling of the Orange Islands kind of area. I think that's what's doing there. And then the third movie has not, of these reboot movies, kind of is not been released yet, and that's the 22nd movie. And the Pokemon we know that's going to appear in there is a shiny Celebi, and then Zarude, which is the first and only mythical so far of Galar, and that's going to appear in there, but I don't know much about the plot since that has not been released yet, so I can't really talk about that. But yeah, sorry to cut me off once again. I forgot to mention one more movie. Technically there is 22 movies actually released of Pokemon out, and the 22nd movie is Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Now Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution is really just it's the same movie as the first Pokemon movie. I mean, exactly the same movie, but just done in CGI. They just, probably took the dub from the original movie and just pasted over or the new CGI, like stuff like that. It's not really like anything new. I think there might be some new dialogue, I think, put into it, like here and there, but it's practically the same movie. Also, in the original movie, we don't actually get to see the scientists actually find Mew's DNA in the forms. Like you see, I think we saw maybe their bodies or whatever, like a backpack stuff, but you never see their faces. They actually changed that for the movie, so we actually see their faces and stuff like that. But other than that, it's the same movie. Nothing really else to really say about it. I think it's definitely an interesting seeing CGI. I mean, it doesn't really look all that good, but it was definitely an interesting take. Obviously, it's just made for money purposes, but if you like the original, you probably will like this one if you get past if you get past the CGI. If you don't like the CGI, then you're probably not gonna like it. If you're okay with it, you pretty much like it like the original. That's pretty much all I could say with it. But yeah. So what I have to say is that I think the movies are just kind of to promote this series as a money grab. I think they're interesting in their own right, not necessarily to watch them along with the series, because it's really difficult to pinpoint exactly where they take place, but they're definitely an interesting aspect of Pokemon that I definitely do enjoy. And if you're going to watch the Pokemon series, I definitely recommend watching the movies because they're just as good or even better. And I thought they definitely have interesting stories. And that's pretty much all my thoughts on the movies. I know this is a long video. I tried to make it short, but there's so many details that I wanted to talk about that I missed out in the first two parts I really wanted to talk about here. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you are new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for the next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.